working out this Christmas cactus then, one of the things, because I know because I've drawn it quite a few times before, is that it's got these really characteristic little kind of horn shapes that come out like this. And with my brush pen, I haven't really captured those in any sort of with that much kind of clarity. So I'm going to use a finer pen and just put them in. I like doing this. I like just using a thinner pen just to add some extra definition. And you can see already that's starting to look sharper. Just extending those little points. They look better already. More characteristic. I'm just taking them up to a fine point. So another thing that's I think is characteristic of these Christmas cactus is that they've got a kind of obvious sort of stripe up the middle, which is partly like a little ridge. So I'm going to put some of those in. Just as lines at the moment. And again, even using this pen, I'm altering the weight the pressure that I'm using as I go along, just to try and get a little bit more variety in the line. And I can also see kind of ridges on the surface of the leaf. So I might keep this just as black and white, even though it's got beautiful greens and purples in it. And I might, just thinking, now that I've started working on this leaf a little bit, I might kind of use this as a prototype for how to tackle all of them. So literally making it up as I go along. So I've added some lines to some of these other leaves. I did a little bit here and a little bit here, and I've also done a few more of the kind of points on the side of the leaves. And having taken a step back again, what I feel now is that the outside shape is really chunky in comparison to the lines in the middle. So I think I need to balance that out a bit. So what I've done is I've had a little practice here on this one, and I have thickened that line up there, and I already prefer that because it just kind of balances things out a little bit. So I'm going to carry on and do that with some more of these lines that I've put in. Not all of them, because then they'll all be the same weight, and I don't think that would work particularly well. There's a couple of kind of wisps of little hairs that pop up. It's quite nice to sort of put those in as a little bit of a contrast. I've just put those 2 lines in, and I'll do a couple on here now, and as you can see they're quite curved, and that's helped that leaf look like it's got a curve to it, which it has, because it's starting to curve into the pot. And then this leaf it's also got a curve to it. So hopefully that's starting to make those look a bit curved. I'll make that a bit thicker. So I really am stylising this Christmas cactus now. Good fun though. Now I have got a little bit of a hankering to see what would happen if I filled in some of these white areas that I've left here at the moment. So I might just do a few little hatching lines here and there, just to see. Yeah, I kind of like that. I don't want it to start looking too busy. So I don't want it to look so busy that you can't read what it is. But I think that's quite nice. And I'm going to try something else, because these areas down the centre here, these are tiny little kind of ridges in the plant. So I'm wondering if I just do a little bit of a curve all the way down. That might suggest that. And I did think about which direction to do the curves in, but I think that's worked okay. Let's do a bit more here. That might be quite nice actually, going through the whole thing, because it'll give some, take your eye through, and it will show that these things that I'm doing, these leaves, are in fact kind of connected. They're the same thing. There's some continuity through the drawing. Perhaps I'm going to make these a little bit further apart. And also slightly change the direction of the curve. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but slightly change the direction of the curve to try and suggest that the fact that that leaf is indeed curving. So I think this is coming on. I'm quite liking it. I've added a little bit more to this Christmas cactus. So there are some more, these kind of ridges in the centres of the leaf have gone in now. And this leaf here is behind this one. So I'm going to just dive in and be brave. And I'm going to go back to my brush pen, because I want this to be, not that it really is in real life. What I've just noticed actually is that there's a bit of an edge, like literally an edge to this one. So I'm just going to draw that in, just because of the angle that I'm looking at it from. There's a little bit of thickness to see. And then I'm going to just go for it with the brush pen. because I want to make this whole area look a little bit darker. And if it looks like I might be ruining it, I will do something else to compensate. Yeah, so I think now we've lost the difference. You can't really see that there is one leaf behind another. So this is the one that's in front. So I think all this in here needs to be look a bit more solid. And hopefully it will come together. I'm knocking back that white. There. So you can always save something. And another little exercise you might like to do is, if you really don't like what you've drawn on the page, just draw all over it with something else. Just draw on top. Just make another whole load of different drawings on top with different pens and pencils, or even watercolours or paints or collage. Yeah, so I'm always looking at what I've done and thinking, oh, what do I need to do next? Now that I've done that one thing. So I think that's coming along okay. So I've just noticed that, I mean, I know that it's there, but I've just started to pay proper attention to the fact that there is like a suggestion of the thickness of these leaves. Partly I can see the edge, but partly it's lit up as well by the light. So I'm going to put some of that in, which for me is going to mean just going around the edge of these dark brush pen lines. And then I'd actually put a little bit of that curve, one of those spikes in, like that. So it's tiny, but it adds another layer of interest to the drawing. I've just gone in with a few dots with my 0.1 fine liner pen because I wanted to suggest these areas of shading. So on the plant, these areas are actually a bit purpley, but I just wanted to suggest that something is there. And then whilst I was doing that, I thought, shall I add some colour? And then I thought, no. And then I thought, actually, I will, because I feel that what I'm doing here is a bit like the film that I did about using the fine liners back earlier in the year. So what I'm going to do is be daring and get my chalk pastel, a pale green, just this pale green for now, rub it on my finger and add a little smudge of colour to this drawing, which just changes it straight away. Quite nice. And it's a good way to add colour quickly. It's chalk pastel, I can still draw into it with pencil, and I can, if I'm careful, it's not too thick, so if I'm careful I can still use my fine liners on top. You need to be careful because you might find that using your fine liners on top of chalk pastel might kind of dry them out a bit. So just be careful. And I use a touch of pink as well, because we've got a little bit of pink down the ridge. So I did not know that I was going to be completing this drawing like this, so it's quite nice to just see what happens. I won't finish off this other set of leaves just because I think it'll take too long, but I think that's coming along okay. Again, I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to start to work on the lemon, and I'll go back to that if I want to add any more to it.